bicycle races, and you can hear them screaming and enjoying themselves in the background as well, and that's a challenging environment.
Well, Laura Yamura, one of the fastest 1,500-metre runners in history, has best of 3:54. Her 3,000 metres best indoors goes back to 2017 when she ran 8:26. But what sort of shape is she in? She parted with her coach Andy Young last year, along with Gemma Ricci, her training partner. There is the real danger. Alicia Monson, so strong, was 5th in the Budapest 10,000 metres last summer, even though over 25 laps it was sweltering weather in the Hungarian capital. Best 3,000 indoors of 8:25, very similar to Muir. Holds the US indoor record for 3,002, does Monson. Watch her. I rather feel that if she's to beat Muir here, though, Monson, she will need to take it up in the second half of the race. Well, back to this women's 2 miles now. Of course, it will be 16 laps of the track. Toes behind the line, please, ladies. So often a problem. It's amazing how, when the moment comes, some people can't stand still on 2 feet.
Well, so the front line were being held for a long time. They couldn't see behind that the second line wasn't ready.
So they get underway in this 2 miles then. Look out too for Nikki Hiltz in the blue there, who was the US outdoor champion over 1,500 metres. Indeed, she holds the world road mile record of 4:27. That was in Des Moines earlier on last year. In fabulous shape throughout 2023, Nikki Hiltz. Barton is the pacemaker, Laurie Barton, tasked with going out at 68 seconds per lap. And no surprise, see Alicia Monson slotting right behind the pacemaker, Barton in red. And Laura Muir right in behind Monson. I rather feel that's the pattern of the race laid down straight away. It's a case of how will these Ethiopians go in this one. Melknat Wudu of Ethiopia was 3rd in Boston last Sunday in the 3,000 in 8:32 in a world under 20 record. She is in 4th place, the small figure in black, just behind Laura Muir. And obviously it's pretty quick because we're almost down to single file straight away. And a lot of responsibility on Barton here, who we understand is perhaps leading towards a world record attempt here. The world record, just in case you want to know, is conveniently 9:00.48. So if they break it by half a second, the winner of this race, then it would be under 9 minutes as well as a world record.
Well, great opening first. I think it's 400. Well, they came through. The graphic told me it was 400. Of course, it's 2 miles, not. It's going to be with those extra 9 metres per mile. But Alicia Monson, you said it in the build-up, Tim. Her strength in her endurance with that 10,000 metres in the 5th place in Budapest, she's got to keep pushing here. She does not want to end up in a sprint finish against Laura Muir. Laura Muir is, 157 800-metre runner. There's no way Monson's going to outkick her. And Monson, 12 months ago when we were here in the Armoury last year, it was so impressive the way she just kept pushing the pace of that 3,000 and got herself the American record. So she's very much, I'm sure, looking for that 9:10 of Al St. Pierre at the very least, if not underneath that and close to that world record.
Yeah, Monson is as tough as nails. She's not a speedster, but she will squeeze every ounce of effort out of those legs to ensure that she runs a quick time here today. Hiltz there in the all blue strip, and the half mile 2:17.72, so just a little bit outside schedule, but if anything, maybe about half a second, not much at all. We were told we would get 400-metre splits, but it looks like we're getting the yard splits for the first 440 yards was 68.13 and then 2:17.72. So that second pair of laps, so to speak, was a little bit slower.
See Alicia Monson just checking the board. She's got everybody for company. Laura Muir slotted in right behind. You mentioned, Tim, that 3,000 metre time for Laura Muir that hasn't been counted. She really wants to hit the 8:36 dead today through 3,000 metres to ensure her qualification for a home World Indoors. She is from Glasgow. That's where the World Indoors is taking place. So she's desperate to hit that mark. And I think we saw Laura Muir talking to the officials and pointing around the track. I think she was very much making sure she broke at the right point and perhaps knows where that 3,000 metre split is going to be taken from, because she won't want to leave anything to chance.
Well, the tiny figure Melknat Wudu still back in 5th place in this women's 2 miles. They go through 3/4 of a mile, 3:25.74.
Nielsen with his third and final attempt at 5:92. That was his best attempt of the day. He doesn't get over it, but he has the win anyway on count back with his first time clearance at 5:82, giving him the advantage over Casey Lightfoot. Good attempt for Nielsen. So regularly attempts these heights at 5:90. Much better than his performance midweek. I think it was down in the 570s, maybe even lower at the Mondo Classic for Nielsen. Back on form here in the Armoury.
Oh, he did everything right there. Just scraped it with his chest when 3/4, 85% of the job was done. Well, the 3/4 mile point in that 2 miles reached in 3:25.74. They're slightly outside schedule, I would say, just marginally. As Casey Lightfoot looks to be putting away his poles, and the mile split in the 2 miles, 4:35.40. Back to this 2 miles, and now Laura Muir behind Monson. The pacemaker job done. Barton did a pretty solid job, as Monson will know full well what her job is now, and that is to really make this third quarter, this third half-mile split hurt for Laura Muir. That's still that tiny figure of Wudu, not giving away anything in third place. Behind her, the other Ethiopian, that's Medina Asa, the World Under-20 5,000 champion back in 2022, ran 8:32 last week for fourth place in Boston exactly a week ago. But Muir looks comfortable at the moment.
She certainly does, and there's a lot of good women all piled up behind there, running super well. If they can keep the gaps nice and small, we should see some super fast times from them. If we look back at Elle St. Pierre's American record, she went 4:42 and then 4:28. Her second half was phenomenal. So that 4:35 here through the first mile very much puts Monson on pace for that US record.
Hiltz and Tanaka beginning to suffer, the gap appearing there behind the second of the Ethiopians, Medina Asa. She's just 19 years old. Wudu is 19 as well. The big pairing, though, the big clash is unfolding the way we expected, with Monson leading at the moment 1.25 miles in 5:44. So that was a 69 segment there, that quarter mile. 5:44.58 at 1.25 miles. Monson has really got to make it hurt these next 3 laps, or else Muir will begin to smell the finish, so to speak, smell victory. And Monson had a little grimace just there. She's having to do all the work, and it's always frustrating, isn't it, Hannah, if you've got somebody sitting on your tail. They're close enough for you to feel them there, sense them there, so to speak, even if you don't glance around.
And Muir, Isa and Medina are just having a bit of a ride here, but Monson, she does this all over the circuit, whether it's a Diamond League, whether it's these indoor races or the US Championships. She doesn't seem scared to lead. I see her teammates, Yara Nagoose, Joe Klecker and the like, coming up in the events later on this afternoon. They're all trained under Dathan Ritzenheim, and they never seem to be scared to push the pace. But Alicia Monson, she is churning out 69s when she was hoping for 68s. She still could be on for a US record, the world record, just as we've mentioned already, with DeBarber at 9 minutes. So that's the national record, unfortunately, for Wudu and Asa. They have got a really stiff task if they want to run a national record. On the other end of the scale, Laura Muir's British national record stays with Lisa Dobrisky at the moment, 9:33. Muir could be miles underneath that today.
Well, Wudu just easing past Laura Muir there and cutting in a bit. The Scot had to cut her stride. But can you believe a couple of 19-year-old Ethiopians are mixing it with 2 of the best non-African runners in the world. 3 laps to go. And Monson really does need to dig deep here and start turning the screw. If she knew that Muir was looking like maybe she's struggling a bit at the back of this group, she'd do so. She has a glance up there at the big screen, so she will have got feedback. But Monson, who aesthetically speaking is not the most smooth of runners, really plows on here so hard with just over 2 laps to run. She's got to try and break this trio.
It's a deceptive change of pace for Monson when she does it, but the athletes are queuing up behind her as you see Laura Muir trying to glide round. This time it will be 2 laps to go. And that's the first time we've seen Laura Muir getting involved. Is this her kicking for the 3K split to ensure her spot at her home World Championships, or is she going for the win? Either one could be possible for Laura Muir, but she strikes with 1.5 laps to go.
She does indeed. Laura Muir at the front for the first time. Up on her toes, beautiful looking runner, this qualified veterinarian. And she has put her career on hold for that side of her life to run as well as this. Goes through the bell there in around 8:35. I don't think the world record's under threat here today. It will be one of the quickest times in the world, but the win is not even assured just yet, because following her every stride of the way is Medina Asa, the world under 25,000 champion, with 100 to run, right up on the heels of Laura Muir. Has she got the speed down the home straight here as Muir kicks for home? Muir moves wide. Asa driving for the line, and she does take the win. What a turn up for the books. Asa takes it 9:04.40. Laura Muir is defeated, ironically, by not the person she expected to get the biggest challenge from. That would have been Monson, who was run out of it there over the final lap with that speed. But that time, 9:04.39, in fact, is confirmed the second fastest time in history. It's just over 4 seconds outside Dibaba's world record from Birmingham 10 years ago, almost to the day. But there's no shame in that performance from Laura Muir. There's a difference between being fit, Hannah, and race fit. And Asa, after that brilliant run in Boston last week, clearly is in fabulous shape. Laura Muir, not quite sharp enough just yet to hold off a 19-year-old Ethiopian in that sort of form. Great run from Asa. Wow. That'll be a world under 20 record for what it's worth. A world under 20 best for 2 miles.
Certainly will for Asa. I wonder what they went through 3,000 metres in. We'll certainly find out. I think it was surely fast enough for Laura Muir in that qualification. But just a note, the final 400 for Muir has come up on the computer is 62 seconds dead, and Asa 61.53. So serious closing speed from those. And Monson is rewarded with a national record. She dips under 9:10 to finish 4th.
Tanaka on 9:16. These are still great times for 2 miles. Mackay, Infelt, and Courtney Waymont closing out the top 10. Goodness me. These two youngsters, you said it towards the second half, then somewhere in the second half of the race, Hannah, they were getting a ride, these two young Ethiopians. Weren't having to do any of the work, get involved in the tactics, just tucked in, running the shortest line. And this is a young lady we'll have to watch very, very carefully come the Olympic Games in Paris if she negotiates the Ethiopian trials, okay. Medina Asa, just 19 years old. 6th in the Budapest 5,000 last summer at the World Championships. I rather fancy she might go a bit better come Paris.